ask you a question. When was the last time you looked at your paycheck and instead of feeling grateful, you felt trapped? Not because it wasn't enough or because you hate your job. You felt trapped because you realized everything in your entire life depends on it. That feeling is becoming a lot more common. And if you've had it, you're not imagining things. You're paying attention. A few months ago, a woman sent me a message that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. She said,
Nick, I'm successful on paper. I've worked hard. I've climbed the ladder. I make good money, but every time there's another layoff announced somewhere, I feel sick. I don't even work there yet. I still wonder, what if I'm next?
Woo, baby. That hit me because I don't think she was afraid of losing her job. I think she was afraid of losing her only plan. And I have a feeling there are a lot of women watching this right now who know exactly what this feels like. You've done everything right. You went to school, you built your career, you stayed loyal, you worked late, you solved problems nobody else wanted, you became the dependable one. I'm talking about the one lottie-dottie and everybody counts on. But somewhere along the way, you started realizing being dependable doesn't always keep you protected. That's the conversation nobody prepared us for. So today, I want to show you how to create income outside of your job. Not because I'm telling you to quit, because I'm absolutely not. And I'm not having this conversation because your job doesn't matter, because it absolutely does. I'm bringing this up because one income stream was never supposed to carry your entire financial future. And stay with me because in a few minutes, I'm going to share the shift that completely changed how I think about multiple streams of income. And if it clicks for you the way it clicked for me, you're going to stop looking at your career the same way. Can we retire one idea right now today? Can we retire the idea that one job equals safety? I think that advice made sense once upon a time. Like, it made sense when people stayed with the same company for 30 years. It made sense when pensions were common. It made sense when loyalty was rewarded. But in today's economy, it's different. Companies change, leadership changes, priorities change, budgets change, entire departments disappear overnight, and none of that means you failed. It means the rules changed. But here's what concerns me, y'all. Too many women are still playing by the old rules. They're climbing one ladder when they could be building a second ladder right next to the first one. Think about that. If you've only built one way to make money, every decision that affects that income suddenly affects your entire life. That's a lot of pressure for one paycheck. I've lived it myself, and you've probably lived it too. And once you've experienced the uncertainty of wondering whether or not your income is safe, you never quite see employment the same way again. Not because you're cynical, but because your eyes are open. Here's the thing that shifted everything for me. Most people think multiple streams of income are about getting rich. I don't believe that. I believe multiple streams of income are about becoming calm. Seriously, they're about becoming calm because money changes your lifestyle and options change your nervous system. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing that if your company announced layoffs, you'd still be okay. You probably won't be thrilled and you might not be celebrating, but you'd be okay. Imagine sitting in your next performance review without wondering,
I have to keep this job no matter what.
Imagine saying no to something that compromises your values because your livelihood doesn't depend on one person's opinion anymore. Can you feel what I'm saying? That right there is what another stream of income creates. Not just more money, it creates more choices. There's a quote I screenshotted a while ago. Income creates money, options create freedom, and freedom changes how you show up everywhere. Freedom changes how you show up at work, at home, in your relationships, even in conversations you haven't had yet. Now, before your brain starts running ahead, let me stop you because I already know what some of you are thinking.
I don't have time. I already work a full-time job. I barely have time to fold laundry.
And I get it because for years, when people talked about starting a business, this is what I pictured. Quitting my job, taking huge risks, working 80-hour weeks, burning myself out, trying to become the next big thing online. And that never appealed to me, y'all. And honestly, I don't think it appeals to most of you watching this video either. You're not looking for another full-time job. You're looking for another stream of income. And those are two completely different goals because one creates more work and the other creates more options. And that's where so many women get confused because the internet has convinced us that entrepreneurship has to be loud. It has to be flashy. It has to happen overnight. It has to involve warehouses, shipping labels, inventory, or going viral. No, it does not. Sometimes it starts with one skill, helping one person and solving one problem. That's how businesses start in this space every single day. They start quietly. So here's a question I want you to answer honestly. If your paycheck paycheck disappeared 6 months from today, what would replace it? Not what could replace it, what would? Would you have another stream of income? Would you have clients? Would you have something to sell? Would you have something you've been building alongside your 9 to 5? Or would you be starting from zero, the same exact week you were trying to emotionally recover from the layoff? That's not a guilt question. It's an awareness question, because we insure our homes, we insure our cars, we insure our health, but somehow we've accepted having only one source of income without realizing that's the thing most exposed to risk. That doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think it makes sense to you either. Now here's the good news. The solution isn't becoming somebody completely different. It's becoming aware of what you've been overlooking, because every woman I know who's built meaningful income outside of her job didn't start with $1 million idea. She started with experience. Experience she already had. Skills she was already using. Problems she already knew how to solve. The difference wasn't talent. The difference was perspective. She stopped seeing those skills as things she only did for her employer and started seeing them as assets. That one shift right there changes everything, because once you understand that your skills belong to you, not your company, you stop asking,
what side hustle should I start?
And you start asking, what value do I already have? And in the next part, I'm going to show you why coaching has become one of the smartest income streams for women, why it's so different from what most people believe it is, and I'm going to give you a simple framework I use to help women turn existing skills into something people are excited to pay for. But before we jump into that, if today's conversation has already given you one new way to think about your skills, I want you to drop the word income in the comments. I created a free training that expands on everything we've talked about here. We'll dive deeper into building a skills-based income stream, why structure matters so much more than having a huge audience, and what keeps so many women stuck before they ever get started. So if you're ready to start thinking differently about your income, comment income down below and I'll make sure you get all the details. Because I have a feeling this conversation isn't just changing how you think about making more money, it's changing how you think about your future. Let's answer the question that's probably sitting in the back of your mind right now.
Okay, Nick, I get it. I need another stream of income, but where do I even start?
The truth is, there are more options today than ever before. You can start an Etsy shop, sell products, open a storefront, launch an agency, become a consultant, create digital products, invest in real estate, and honestly, none of those are bad ideas. But I want to offer you a different perspective. Don't start with the business, start with the skill. I think that's where so many people accidentally make this harder than it has to be. They go looking for an idea when they've been sitting on one for years. Your next stream of income probably isn't hiding somewhere on the internet. It's hiding inside your personal and professional experiences. Think about how many years you've spent solving problems, helping people, leading teams, training coworkers, creating systems, managing projects, navigating difficult conversations, making complicated things simple. That's not random experience, y'all. That's intellectual property. Most women have never thought about it that way, though. Most women think,
I've just been doing what I do.
and that's the whole point. And your life has been teaching you skills that other people desperately need the whole time. Here's something I want you to remember. Your employer rented your skills. They never owned your skills. Let me say that again for the people in the back so y'all can hear me clearly when I say your employer rented your skills. They never owned it. You brought your thinking, your experience, your judgment, your leadership, your ability to solve problems. You brought all of that to your job on your first day. And if you left tomorrow, you'd be taking every bit of that with you. That's why I say your skills are your backup plan, not because your job doesn't matter, but because your skills will outlive every job you'll ever have. That changes how you look at your career. Instead of seeing every role as your destination, you start seeing every role as another place where you're collecting valuable experience that belongs to you. So why do I believe coaching is such a smart income stream for women? Because it starts where you already are. Think about it. You already answer questions. You already mentor people. You already explain things. You already help people think through problems. You already have conversations where someone walks away saying,
I never thought about it like that.
That's coaching. The difference is inside your job, you do it because it's expected. Outside of your job, you do it with intention. You create a framework, you guide someone through a transformation, and they gladly pay for the outcome. That's why I love coaching. It doesn't ask you to become somebody else. It asks you to organize what you already know. And for women who are balancing careers, families, responsibilities in real life, that's a much more accessible place to start than trying to build a complicated business from day one. Now, let me tell you what I see happening happen over and over again. A woman realizes she has valuable experience, right? She gets excited, she starts researching, she opens 20 browser tabs, downloads 15 freebies, watches another 50 YouTube videos, and guess what? 6 months later, she's still researching and nothing's changed for her. You know why? Because information isn't what you're missing. Structure is. Information tells you what's possible. Structure shows you where to start. And that's why two women can consume the exact same content and one builds a business while the other keeps collecting bookmarks. One has a roadmap, the other had inspiration. Inspiration is wonderful. It just isn't enough by itself. Here's something else I wish more women understood. You don't build another income stream because you expect your job to disappear. You build it because life changes. Maybe one day you want to work fewer hours. Maybe your parents need more support. Maybe your kids need you more than they do today. Maybe you decide the promotion isn't worth what it costs you. Maybe your priorities change. Maybe another stream of income gives you choices before you need them. That's the part nobody talks about. Noah didn't build the ark after it started raining. He built it while the weather was calm. And I know this isn't the most exciting advice, but it's the advice that creates peace. Because the thing about it is that panic is expensive, but preparation, that's powerful. I want you to imagine something. It's a year from now. You're still working your job. Nothing dramatic happened. You don't quit. You don't burn everything down. But over the past 12 months, you built something on the side. You helped your first client, then another one, then another one. You figured out what people needed. So you refined your offer. You earned money from skills you already had. Now imagine walking into work. You stand a little taller. You speak a little different. You negotiate different. Because at that point, you're no longer thinking,
I have to make this work.
You're thinking,
I have options.
and that's a completely different version of you. Not because your title changed, because your confidence changed. Because confidence grows when you realize your future isn't resting on one paycheck anymore. If you're sitting there thinking,
That all sounds great, but I still don't know how to turn my skills into something people would buy.
that's exactly why I created 2K in 2 hours. I wanted to build the resource I wish existed years ago. One that skips the endless overthinking. A roadmap that helps you identify the skill you've been undervaluing. Turn that skill into a coaching offer, price it, package it, and get moving. Because I truly believe momentum changes lives. Not another notebook or another course sitting unfinished on your laptop. Momentum changes lives. I'm talking about the small steps that create confidence. The confidence that creates action. The action that creates income. And the income that creates options. You can learn more about 2K in 2 hours by visiting my website at herincomeedit.com/2K or just click the link down in the description. Somewhere today, there's a woman making money from a skill that looks almost identical to yours. The difference isn't that she's smarter or luckier or more talented. She simply stopped treating her skills like something that only belonged inside her job. She realized her experience wasn't just part of her resume. She realized she was sitting on an asset. And once she saw that, everything changed. I hope the same happens for you today because your job was never meant to be your only plan. It was only meant to be one chapter. Your skills, your experience, your perspective, those are the things that travel with you. Those are the things that create freedom. Those are the things that give you options. And those options might become the greatest source of peace you've ever built for yourself. At the end of the day, your paycheck pays your bills, but your skills protect your future. If you're new here, my name is Nick Scott, and I help women turn their existing skills into coaching income, digital products, and online businesses. If this video resonated with you, I want you to watch this one next. I made it because too many women think their only two choices are staying stuck or walking away from the safety they've worked so hard to build. There's a much smarter path, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Okay? I'll see you there.